It wasn't easy for the man to just walk up to other people and say hi. But the person he tried to approach didn't respond. They just pulled out a gun in a very cautious way. In this world overrun by zombies, there are very few people left. And because food is so scarce, no one trusts anyone else anymore. Andy and his family have been living on their boat for 2.5 months to stay safe. While being on the water is secure, finding food is their biggest problem. One day, Andy spotted an old, abandoned yacht and rowed over to see if there was any food on it. To be safe, he used a mirror to look inside first. Once he was sure it was clear, he went into the cabin. He was lucky and found a lot of food, enough for his family to last for several months. He was so happy. But then he heard a sudden noise. He didn't think much of it and took a box of food back to his boat. He didn't realize that his wife, Kay, was now in great danger because of his carelessness. Kay knew her husband had found food on the yacht. So while he was sleeping, she secretly went to the yacht herself to find something for him to shave with. When she was inside, she heard the same noise again. She got a bad feeling and tried to leave, but it was too late. Andy doesn't know how long it was, but he woke up to his daughter crying. He was about to go check on Kay with his daughter in his arms when he saw a puddle of blood on the floor. A terrible feeling came over him. He opened the bathroom door and found his wife with a wound. He was scared and didn't know what had happened until Kay put a countdown bracelet on his wrist. He then understood that a zombie had bitten his wife. Kay has 48 hours before she turns into a zombie. But Andy doesn't panic. He starts packing a bag right away. He knows that according to a government map, there are aid stations on land that might have a cure for the virus. Without wasting any time, the family sets off. But being on land is much more dangerous than being on the boat, and they have to stay alert. Luckily, they don't have to walk for long before they find a car. As Andy is filling the car with gas, Kay sees a zombie coming their way. She wants to warn him, but she's afraid the sound will attract the zombie. So she just turns on the car's turn signal. Andy sees it and immediately understands. Before the zombie can jump on him, he gets back in the car and quickly drives away. But soon after they leave, Kay sees that her wound is covered in a lot of zombie blood. This is a sign that she is about to turn. To keep her family safe, she wants to get out of the car and leave. Seeing how upset she is, Andy has to stop the car and catch up to her. Kay knows her time is almost up and that there's no cure. Even so, Andy doesn't want to give up. He forces her back into the car. To stop her from doing anything reckless, he deliberately breaks the door handle. They continue on their way. It's not long before something bad happens again. A zombie suddenly appears in the middle of the road. Andy swerves to avoid it and crashes the car. A tree branch goes through Kay's stomach, and Andy is knocked unconscious from the crash. When Andy wakes up, he sees something written on the car door. His wife's face is covered in zombie blood, and it won't be long before she turns. He tries to comfort his scared daughter, but his wife, who has now fully turned into a zombie, accidentally bites him. After getting his daughter out of the car, Andy walks back. He has to kill his wife with his own hands to put her out of her misery. After he's done, Andy sits down in despair and lets out a roar of anger and sadness. He thinks about dying with his wife, but he has a months-old daughter to take care of, so he can't give up. He decides to take the bracelet off his wife's hand and put it on his. After setting the countdown for 48 hours, Andy sets off again with his daughter on his back. He knows that before he turns, he has to find someone he can trust to take care of his daughter. On the road, his daughter keeps crying. He sprays his wife's old perfume around, and his daughter smells the familiar scent and immediately stops crying. Just then, Andy sees the zombie that caused their car crash. He is about to grab a branch to kill it when a woman named Thummy stops him. Thummy cuts her own palm with a sharp stone. The zombie smells the blood and immediately follows her. This zombie is also very close to Thummy. This is how she keeps the one she loves close to her. Andy continues walking toward the aid station using the map. Finally reaches his destination in the dark. But the place is not what he expected. It's very dark inside, and it doesn't look like anyone is there. He looks around and finds a woman named Etta sitting in the corner. Seeing the wound on Andy's arm, Etta gives him a simple bandage and tells him that this is no longer an aid station. She explains that because the virus spread so fast, the government closed it a long time ago. Andy wants to give his daughter to Etta, but then he sees her take off her wig. She is on medication and is clearly suffering from a disease that can't be cured. Andy gives up on the idea. The next morning, he says goodbye to Etta and keeps going with his daughter on his back. On his way, He sees many zombies with their heads in the dirt. As soon as he walks by, they wake up. Andy soon sees a truck and wants to know if it works, but he doesn't expect to find the owner there. It turns out to be a zombie that was following them. The sound of gunfire from the zombie attracts more zombies. A man named Vic is sadly trapped in a hole. He asks Andy to help him. Unexpectedly, a zombie appears nearby. After getting the keys to Vic's car, Andy immediately gets in, steps on the gas to save Vic, and drives away before the zombies arrive. Vic then takes Andy to a gas station where he and his wife live. The two seem to have a good relationship. The first thing Vic does when he gets back is give Lorraine the necklace he found. But this is all a lie. As soon as Vic turns away, Lorraine looks disgusted and throws the necklace aside. Andy doesn't understand. Andy sits down to rest, and Vic takes him out to walk around. Andy has no choice but to leave his daughter with Lorraine. He doesn't expect Vic to take him out to practice shooting. Many zombies are gathered by a cage in front of them, as if something is attracting them. But Andy doesn't think much of it, and quickly kills all the zombies with Vic's help. But when they get closer, Andy realizes that the cage is holding Thumi. Thumi is the woman he met before. Andy thought he could trust this couple with his daughter, but they use other people's lives to play games, so they are not good people. Lorraine is taking care of his daughter when she suddenly finds zombie blood on her body. She immediately understands what has happened, but she doesn't say anything. Instead, she cleans the girl's clothes and hangs them up to dry. Andy comes back and sees this. He understands that Lorraine knows he is infected with the virus. He feels that compared to Vic, Lorraine is a good person and he can trust her with his daughter. At the end of the night, Andy finally makes up his mind because he is running out of time. After sadly saying goodbye to his daughter, Andy goes outside alone. He takes the government-issued needle and gets ready to end his life. At that important moment, Lorraine suddenly appears with his daughter in her arms. She knows what Andy is about to do and that he has been infected. But when Andy asks her to help him, Lorraine says she can't take care of his daughter. It turns out she and Vic are not a couple, and Vic has killed her real husband. She says if he really wants to save his daughter, he needs to take her away from here. Hearing this and thinking about Vic's actions during the day, Andy is now even more sure about Vic's bad character. It seems he can't kill himself after all. Andy suddenly remembers the family he met by the river at the beginning. They have 2 daughters and might be able to help, so he decides to try his luck and go there. But as soon as he says that, Vic suddenly appears and hits Andy in the head. When he wakes up, he finds himself locked up with Thumi, but he will turn into a zombie soon. Andy must find a way out, as zombies are coming their way. Looking at the sausages hanging in the cage, Andy gets an idea. He ties a rope to them and throws them far away. The zombies are drawn to the food, and as they fight over it, the gate opens. Using this trick, they successfully escape and walk to the gas station. They sneak into the room to wake up the sleeping Lorraine and get their daughter ready to leave. Vic is sleeping like a log and doesn't notice. They are about to get into the car when Vic comes out with a shotgun. Lorraine tries to stop him from shooting but is shot by Vic as soon as she tries. Vic is about to come after them from above, and Andy has no choice but to run. They run to a cave and finally get away from the chase. An angry Vic keeps shouting outside. They don't dare to make a sound. Vic leaves after a little while. They have to wait until dawn to go. However, late at night, Thumi wakes up to a strange noise. She turns on her flashlight and finds Andy licking blood off a stone wall. He is slowly becoming a zombie. After dawn, Andy is back to normal and continues his journey with his daughter and Thumi. But when they walk under a tree, Thumi stops. It turns out the zombie was her father, who was killed by her people and buried in this tree. Thumi says a prayer for her father, and they keep going. But it's not long before Andy feels sick. At this point, he only has 9 hours left before he fully turns into a zombie. After a painful struggle, Andy falls to the ground and passes out. Thumi picks up his daughter, and after he recovers, she sets off for his destination again. It is hard to find the family, but she finds the man digging a grave for his family. When she gets closer, she realizes that a zombie has bitten him, too. She wanted to give his daughter to them, but she never expected this to be the outcome. The man advises Andy to take his daughter far away and says he will leave them 2 bullets. Andy doesn't hesitate and turns to leave. Not long after he leaves, he hears the sound of 2 gunshots. The man first shoots and kills his wife and daughter, and then kills himself. Andy picks up the man's gun and sits on the ground stunned. He wants to end his life, but his daughter crying out, "Dad," makes him change his mind again. Thumi carries his daughter to him, and tells him that her people are not far away. She asks if he wants to go with them. Thumi's words give Andy hope again. He thinks that if he can give his daughter to her tribe to raise, it would be the best option. So he agrees, and they immediately set off. When they walk through a cave, they see many zombies inside. Thumi says the zombies are sleeping. They like dark places, just like the ones buried in the ground, so they'll be fine as long as they don't bother them. But just as they are about to reach the exit, they see Vic. Vic seems to have found something and is walking slowly toward them. To get his attention, Andy puts Thumi and his daughter down. Then he goes behind a van and shouts Vic's name. He quickly hides among the dead bodies. But to find Andy, Vic starts killing zombies. At this point, Andy is ready to fight back. He decides to shoot Vic. He doesn't hit a vital spot. A weak Andy is knocked to the ground by Vic, who then finds the two children in the car. Without a word, he pulls Thumi out, hits her, and then picks up Andy's daughter. Andy, using his last bit of strength, gets up again. He finds that Vic has not hurt his daughter. It turns out Vic was badly hurt by the gunshot. In his last moments, he chose to be a good person. Thumi is also fine, just a little dizzy from a head injury. At this time, Andy is slowly losing his mind. He holds on for a little longer, walks a little more, and then puts his daughter down. After only a few steps, Andy falls to the ground. When he gets back up, his whole face is covered in zombie blood. He keeps wiping it with his hands, trying to stay awake. Seeing the rotten meat on the side of the road, he can't fight his hunger. Looking at his daughter, Andy gets an idea. With Thumi's help, he takes a little bit of the meat and keeps going. When he can no longer hold on, Andy stops. He ties the meat to a branch and tells Thumi what to do. Andy says a final goodbye to his daughter and puts her on his back. To stop himself from hurting them, he puts braces on his mouth and ties his hands tightly. After doing all this, Andy turns into a zombie, but he doesn't stop. At this time, a group from Thumi's clan who were killing zombies nearby are getting ready to leave. They suddenly hear a baby crying and turn around. They see an unbelievable sight. As the mist slowly clears, a strange figure appears. A zombie carrying his daughter and guided by the smell of the rotten meat continues on toward their clan. As a father, Andy completed his last mission after saving the two children. They also sent Andy on his final journey. At the end of the movie, Andy's daughter is brought back to the tribe, and they all love her. A member of the clan finds a thank you note written on the child's stomach. This is a father's last love for his daughter, and also a way of thanking the clan for adopting his daughter. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below, and if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.